You are home alone at night. Everything is quiet. Then, from the garden behind your house, a deep sound echoes through the dark. It is not a dog. It is not a cat. It is not the wind. The sound comes from somewhere above, hidden among the dark trees outside. You look through the window, and in the darkness, a pair of bright eyes is staring down at your yard. It could be a great horned owl, and if it is there is a good chance your yard has something it is looking for. But that something is usually not you. A great horned owl does not perch on a branch just to frighten people. It is there because, somewhere below in that dark yard, something may be moving. A mouse running along the fence, a small rabbit hiding under a shrub, a young squirrel, a small bird, or a tiny sound your ears may barely notice. The great horned owl was built for moments like this. Its eyes are large, its pupils can widen in the dark, and its retina contains many light-sensitive cells that help it detect movement in low light. But its eyes are only part of the story. The great horned owl also has extremely sensitive hearing. The feathers around its face work almost like a natural sound dish, helping direct sound toward its ears. So it does not only watch the yard, it listens to the yard. That is why an owl can sit still for a long time on a high branch, waiting for the smallest rustle in the grass. And the most frightening thing about it is not its speed, even though a great horned owl can fly very fast, with some reports recording speeds of up to about 40 miles per hour, or more than 60 kilometers per hour. The most frightening thing is that it can fly almost silently. An owl dropping from a tree may make so little noise that its prey has almost no time to react. Its soft wings help it cut through the air more quietly. Its special feathers help reduce the sound of flight. And when it gets close enough, what ends the hunt is not the beak, it is the talons. The talons of a great horned owl are very strong. Once they grip, their hold can be extremely difficult to break. For small prey, the owl does not need to attack again and again. It only needs one accurate strike. So when you hear an owl calling in your yard, do not simply think, there is a bird out there. Understand that a night predator may be checking your property. And the more important question is this: what is in your yard that makes it want to come back? The answer is usually not up in the tree, it is down below. A great horned owl needs 3 things to turn an area into a hunting ground: a high place to perch, a quiet space to listen, and prey moving in the dark. If your yard has large trees, a tall fence, thick shrubs, piles of dry leaves, old wood, or a corner that is rarely cleaned, it may become an ideal hunting spot. Not because your yard is frightening, but because your yard is alive. And in the world of an owl, wherever small life moves at night, there may be food. Many people believe their backyard is clean, ordinary, and quiet. But if you look more closely, you may find a different story. Birdseed scattered under a feeder can attract mice. Pet food left outside overnight can bring small animals closer to the house. Dry leaves piled along a fence can become shelter. Overgrown shrubs can hide the tiny paths that mice use every night. A neglected corner of a shed, or a small gap near the garage, can create a hiding place for creatures you rarely see during the day. And if those animals appear often enough, the owl may notice. It does not need an invitation. It only needs your yard to accidentally become a place with the right conditions for hunting. That is why the appearance of a great horned owl should not be seen only as a strange moment in the night. It may be a sign that your yard has mice, too many hiding places, or a nighttime food chain that is more active than you realize. And here is the important point. The owl may not be the problem. It may be pointing to the problem. If a predator returns to the same place again and again, there is usually a reason. So if you hear an owl calling for several nights in a row, do not only look up at the tree, check along the fence, under the shrubs, near the trash cans, beside the shed, under the bird feeder, and in the dark corners you usually ignore. The owl may be seeing something you have not noticed yet. This is why gardeners should not be too quick to see an owl as a bad sign, because one of the greatest benefits of a great horned owl around a yard is its ability to help control rodents. Mice can damage seeds, chew plant roots, harm young vegetables, get into sheds, leave droppings in garages, and sometimes find their way inside the home. They are often active when you are not watching, and by the time you notice the signs, the problem may have already been there for a while. One owl cannot solve your entire rodent problem, but it can be part of a natural control system. But that does not mean you should see the great horned owl as a perfect friend of the garden. An owl may help control mice, but it does not hunt according to human preferences. It does not separate pests from animals you love or creatures you want to keep in your yard. To you, a small rabbit, a chick, or a little bird may be something precious, but to a great horned owl, any small creature moving in the dark can become prey. That is why if you keep chicks, ducklings, small rabbits, or very small pets, you should not leave them outside alone at night. Not because the owl hates them, but because hunting is its instinct. You do not need to fear the owl, but you do need to respect what it is. A great horned owl is not a decoration for your garden. It is a real predator, and it survives through fast, precise decisions made in the dark. Even people who love backyard birds may feel conflicted when an owl appears. If your yard has a bird feeder, it may attract many small birds during the day, but fallen seed can also attract mice at night. And when both small birds and mice appear around the same area, your yard may become more attractive to an owl. That does not mean you have to remove everything from your yard, but it does mean you should understand the connection between them. A bird feeder does not only attract birds. Pet food left on the porch does not only attract pets. A pile of dry leaves is not just leaves. In the nighttime world, all of these things can become part of the food chain. That is why you should not react too strongly in either direction. Do not treat the owl as a bad omen that must be chased away immediately, but do not romanticize it as a completely harmless savior either. It can be helpful. It can also create risks. And most importantly, it shows you that your yard is not as quiet as you think. That is also why your first reaction should not be to use rodent poison too quickly. If the owl is there because your yard has mice, many people may think the easiest answer is to put out bait. But in nature, things do not stop with the mouse. A mouse that eats poison may not die right away. It can still move through the yard. And if an owl catches it, that poison can move one step higher in the food chain. You may think you are only dealing with mice, but sometimes you may also be harming the very predator that was helping control them. And it is not only owls. Other predators such as hawks, foxes, cats, dogs, or wildlife in the area can also be affected indirectly if they eat poisoned prey. So if you suspect your yard has mice, start with the basics. Do not leave pet food outside overnight. Keep trash cans tightly closed. Clean up fallen seed under bird feeders. Store food and seeds in sealed containers. Remove piles of dry leaves, rotting wood, and objects that create hiding places. Check gaps around the garage, basement, shed, and foundation. These things may not be as dramatic as watching an owl dive through the darkness, but they are the real changes that make your yard less attractive to mice and other unwanted small animals. An owl can hunt mice, but you are the one who decides whether your yard is accidentally feeding the problem. If you hear an owl once, it may simply be a visitor passing through. But if you hear it night after night, or often see it perched around the same area, treat it as a reminder. Not a reminder to be afraid, a reminder to look more closely. Look at your yard in daylight. Which areas are too overgrown? Are there mouse droppings in the shed? Is there food scattered somewhere you rarely check? Still, if you see an owl, remember to keep your distance. Do not try to catch it. Do not throw things to chase it away. Do not shine a light into its eyes for too long just to film it. Do not approach a nest if you discover one near your home. The best thing to do is observe from a distance. Bring very small pets indoors when it gets dark. Protect chicks, ducklings, or outdoor rabbits with secure cover. And clean up fallen seed under bird feeders regularly. When you go to sleep, your garden does not sleep with you. It simply shifts into a different rhythm. Small animals begin to move. Tiny sounds appear in the grass. Leaves tremble because something has just passed through. And somewhere above, an owl may be sitting still, listening to it all. That is why, the next time you hear an owl calling from the garden behind your house, do not think only of something frightening. Ask yourself, What is it hearing that I cannot hear? What is it seeing that I cannot see? And what is my yard hiding in the dark? A great horned owl is not a monster. It is not a perfect friend either. It is a powerful, silent, and necessary predator. It can help control mice, but it can also create risks for small animals if you do not protect them. Even when everything seems quiet, there is still a world moving outside. A world of sound, darkness, instinct, and survival. Have you ever heard an owl near your home at night? Have you ever seen it perched in a tree? On a roof? Or did you only hear its call coming from the darkness? Tell me your story in the comments. And if you know someone who thinks an owl in the yard is only a frightening sign, share this with them, because the next time they hear an owl outside their window, they may not only feel afraid, they may understand that their yard is trying to tell them something.